Some great words there from all 4 members of Crew-11 and the astronauts and cosmonauts, all that cadre. They're well on their way to the final destination, which they have about a 16-hour ride to do so in the phasing to ultimately the International Space Station, where they will turn that group into a full group of 11. So only fitting for Crew-11.
To summarize where we are with vehicle activation, we've had nominal dehumidifier activation and service section Draco checkouts. We're currently opening the nose cone.
We have just gotten confirmation that nose cone...
copies all. And we'll be ready for visors open with ECOS activation complete.
We just had great comms that nose cone deploy is underway. The 6 hooks that hold the nose cone in place during the launch and ascent portions have to retract, and then the nose cone will be able to start to swing open and deploy. This uncovers a number of critical systems for the flight up to the space station, including the forward bulkhead thrusters and the docking hatch. And that call from the core here in Hawthorne indicating that we had good checkouts of the 12 Draco thrusters around the service section. 4 to go after we get the nose cone open and the ECLIS, the environmental control and life support system, activated inside Dragon. Soon the crew will be able to get their visors open and get out of their suits and settle in for their ride to the space station.
And we'll continue to get those call outs and hear about the nose cone again. Right now, currently opening. The hooks have been opening, and they were doing so during the great words from the crew. So we'll continue to monitor and waiting as the nose cone is deploying at the moment. And we'll wait for that final confirmation that it is open. And Crew-11 can continue its journey on as we await those last few moments here as nose cone deployment currently underway. And a great view of Dragon as it went up the eastern seaboard, and we had a view for a moment there is again passing over ground stations, and that's what provides us the great views that you've been seeing throughout today's broadcast inside the Dragon spacecraft. And there's a great look at that single Merlin vacuum engine that helped propel Crew-11 into orbit, and a great view of looking outward across the arch of the Earth.
Despite all of the weather issues we were having on ground leading up to launch, we seem to be having some really clear, amazing views in space today.
And now 16.5 minutes into flight, you're right. It was threading the needle, but they were able to get up and about above the clouds. And even watching that ascent for stage 1 was wonderful to see them bypass those clouds that we were talking about a lot today. But again, as we await for further views inside the Dragon spacecraft and from their pursuit, Crew-11 to the International Space Station, we're now standing by for nose cone deploy, as the team on the ground in Hawthorne, California, right there inside SpaceX Mission Control, actively monitoring all of those systems. You mentioned the ECLIS system inside, and once everything checks the appropriate boxes, then Crew-11 can doff or get out of their spacesuits, those new IVA suit for Mike Fink and company. And then from there, it's going to be about a 16-hour ride to the International Space Station, and that's where they will link up with the orbiting laboratory and the 7 current residents on there. Crew 10 is currently on board, as well as Soyuz MS-27 with NASA astronaut Johnny Kim, and they'll bring that 7 to a team of 11, hopefully in the early morning hours coming up tomorrow. So we continue to stand by, approaching 18 minutes into today's flight.
We are just waiting confirmation that the nose cone is fully deployed, but all hooks are open. We should be hearing that confirmation hopefully within the next minute or so. And hopefully we'll also have great views of that nose cone deploy.
And that's a great view on the right-hand side of the International Space Station Flight Control Room in Houston, Texas, as NASA's Johnson Space Center, where we got updates throughout the day today from Sandra Jones as the International Space Station monitoring today's flight and the ascent of NASA SpaceX Crew-11. And they pulled go earlier on as they're ready to receive Dragon. And we just received confirmation that the nose cone has completely opened and deployed. So great news, as again, all those checkouts continuing to happen for Crew-11 after a successful on-time liftoff today. And they were able to get past the clouds, the weather that we've been monitoring, and a successful first stage and second stage performance to propel them into orbit. Crew-11 is comprised of NASA astronauts Zena Cardman and Mike Fink, along with JAXA astronaut Kimia Yui and Roscosmos Oleg Platonov. And they are now safely in orbit following that approximately 9-minute ride after liftoff today from NASA's Kennedy Space Center in Florida. The crew now, as mentioned, has a little bit about a 16-hour journey before they reach their destination.
Dragon SpaceX, we see a nominal nose cone opening, TCS, and forward bulkhead to Draco checkouts.
Great call out right there.
Dragon copies all. Good news.
And that's what we were waiting for there, was that call up to crew.
Looking forward in the timeline, you have your first burn up on your forward view. That's the phase burn in approximately 25 minutes. We will also be monitoring the stage 2 deorbit to give you the go for suit doffing, and we're expecting that at T plus 45 minutes.
Dragon copies. We'll be monitoring, and T plus 45 approximately for suit doffing. We're with you in the timeline.
Great conversations there with the team on the ground, and there they are, Crew-11. Happy as can be in orbit now, and they have a 16-hour journey before they reach their destination, the International Space Station, as docking currently targeted for tomorrow morning, Saturday, August 2nd at 3 a.m. Eastern Time, 12 a.m. Pacific, to the space-facing port of the station's Harmony module. Now, between now and then, Dragon will perform a series of burns as it catches up to the space station. And that first burn you heard him talking about is the phase burn, and that happens about 30 minutes or so from now. So we'll continue to monitor the Dragon spacecraft, or the teams on the ground will continue to monitor that first of a sequence of burns to help them stair-step their way up to the International Space Station.
Human spaceflight has come so far in the last 5 years with Dragon. In addition to flying people, SpaceX's Dragon spacecraft also enables researchers the opportunity to fly critical science to orbit. So far, SpaceX and Dragon have carried more than 1,000 research experiments to and from low Earth orbit, both to the International Space Station and on our free flyer missions. From DNA sequencing to 3D printing, studies enabled by Dragon and the space station test a variety of technologies, systems, and materials that will be needed for future long-duration exploration missions. Every mission yields critical science, critical research, and learnings that help make life both on Earth and in space better. And flights just like today's help us continue to lay this foundation for our future among the stars and continue our mission to make life multiplanetary. We'll be signing off from SpaceX for now, so we're going to send you back over to Kennedy Space Center. But before we go, we want to thank NASA, Joseph, for entrusting us with today's mission, and thank you all for being with us today.
Well, thank you very much, Soumya, Ronnie, and the teams here at SpaceX. It was another phenomenal opportunity to catch NASA SpaceX Crew-11 in orbit today. And with that, we're going to say goodbye from here in Hawthorne until we pick back up with our docking coverage beginning at 2 a.m. Saturday, August 2nd, tomorrow, for that targeting docking to the space-facing port of the station's Harmony module at 3 a.m. Eastern. So for now, thank you for joining us, and we're going to toss it back over to Nick and Daryl at Kennedy Space Center to wrap up today's launch coverage.
Great job. If you're just joining us, welcome back to the Kennedy Space Center in Florida. I'm Daryl Nail here with NASA astronaut Nick Hague. Just moments ago, we saw Crew-11 safely on orbit with the nose cone open, checkouts complete, and a few words from the crew as they settled into their new environment aboard Dragon. And Nick, watching him in that moment, floating free, you must feel good about your friends and colleagues successfully getting to orbit today.
Absolutely. You know, at the moment of liftoff, the tingle on the back of your neck, the chills, and watching them go into orbit, and then to hear them call down after they're there safely, the joy in their voice, and then the gratitude for the teams that got them there. Just, you can't help but feel awesome right now. Everybody that's associated with this launch.
And now it comes, a completion for Zena Cardman, the commander who was part of Crew 9, was pulled off that mission. You continued on. This is now her chance. Now she's in space. She had to wait a little bit longer, but now finally gets to fly.
Yeah, it's a full circle moment, and it's a thrill to be here and just be part of it.
We appreciate you from the very start saying that you wanted to document this moment with her here at the Kennedy Space Center, watching them go up at that moment. Mike Fink has been around for a while. He's a veteran astronaut, but there's been quite a gap. He finally now, after 14 years, back up in space.
Yeah, talk about patience being a key quality of an astronaut. It's not just sitting strapped into a rocket for 2.5 hours prior to launch and not being able to move. It's, you know, doing your job and waiting for your opportunity, and that might be a decade or more. And to take that time and to do so much with it while you're still waiting to launch into space, it just shows the character that he has. Incredible
Character and incredible character is Mike. Well, quick story here. We want to tell you, you know, when Zena Cardman was here and she did the co-host role for Crew-9 when you launched. After the launch broadcast was over, she pulled out a deck of cards and just offhandedly was like, oh, hey, I want to show you something. And she showed me this deck of cards. It was the Crew-9 deck of cards. And she had hand-drawn the portraitures of like each of the Crew-9 members, which included you, and she was on it, though she didn't get to fly. It was the card deck that you used when you played to get rid of your bad luck.
Yeah, in the suit-up room,
Right. And so I'm like, you hand drew these? I was like super impressed. So, of course, fast forward to recently, you walk in the pre-production meeting and you're like, hey, Zena wants to have this deck of cards. It's the Crew-11 deck of cards, and we want to show them to you now. And she redrew her crew. And we want to show those to you. Hold that up.
She's an amazing artist.
All the crew members each got a face card. So she's on there, Oleg's on there, Mike and Kim and Kimya. And here they are. She hand drew this. We have a close-up of this shot. We want to show you so you can get a real full appreciation. Hand-drawn portraitures by Zena Cardman, the commander. You talk about many talents. Just another talent in what appears to be just this extremely well-rounded astronaut and commander.
Oh, absolutely. Not all astronauts are created equal. I cannot do that. She is talented.
That's incredible. And, of course, they played with this deck of cards when they got rid of Zena's bad luck today.
Yeah, and it worked.
And it worked. Look at that weather. We were looking at the cloud just off to the south.
You know, the power of positive thinking.
Your positive thinking was like, you know, perfect. All right, we're going to send it back out for one more interview with Tony. And in the meantime, you and I are going to play some high-low card for your next space assignment. See if I can win it from you. Tony, take it away.
Thanks, Daryl. Looking forward to who wins that game. You know, joining me is now Stephen Chan with the Commercial Crew program. Stephen, I mean, what an amazing launch and landing of Falcon's first stage. How you feeling?
That was amazing, Tony. You know, to watch the Crew-11 Dragon flying up on the Falcon 9, just it's incredible, you know, to see that. On a personal note, Mark Fink is a dear friend of the family, and it warms my heart to see him to go back to space station to work and live there. I am the external liaison for the Commercial Crew program, so it's my job to make sure that our external partners are coordinated and informed to support our missions, and those partners include Coast Guard, FAA, Air Force, Space Force, and other DoD partners. Today, the Coast Guard is out there making sure the waterway is safe, and you know, FAA is clearing the waterway. So it is. I get to see how much work it goes behind the scenes to make sure our missions are successful, and I am looking forward to have the Crew-11 get on orbit and then come back safely with Crew-10.
You know, Steve, you played a critical role in changing the splashdown locations for Dragon to the Pacific Ocean. Can you talk to us a little bit about your role in that and the significance in changing those splashdown locations?
Yes, the moving Dragon recovery to Pacific all had to do about the safety of the public, and the trunk debris. By going to the Pacific, we ensure that the trunk is entered over Pacific Ocean and have no risk at all to the public. So, and thanks to our external partners, we work with them to make sure that the Dragon can be recovered safely, and they can perform their important missions, like keeping the waterway safe, keeping the airspace safe, and then the DoD can perform their missions around California coast.
You know, speaking about all of those external partners that you have to work with, I mean, it took a huge effort to get this underway. Can you tell us a little bit more about how that worked?
Yes, so for our West Coast partners, the Dragon landing in the Pacific is a new challenge for them. And they have, as I mentioned earlier, they have their other national priorities. So we are very thankful to our partners and their leadership who recognize that Dragon is also a very important national priority. So we're very thankful to our Coast Guard, Navy, other DoD partners, and FAA that help us make that happen. And I'm looking forward to work with them to bring Crew-10 home safely. SpaceX has successfully brought back 3 Dragon the last few months, and we are confident they can help us get there in the next few weeks.
Absolutely. Yeah, absolutely, Steve. I mean, we just launched, but like you said, we now have the rest of the mission. We have to bring Crew-10 home. Can you tell us what are the next steps for you? Where will you be going next?
We'll be working with SpaceX and our government partners to make sure we look at those reentry opportunities and coordinate and inform each other, all the important activities. So it's just a lot of coordination, and we're thankful that our partner worked with us on this national priority.
Absolutely. Well, we wish you the best of luck on the rest of the mission. Thank you so much for joining us. And now we'll send it back to Daryl and Nick.
All right, thank you so much, Tony. And certainly you can hear the emotion in people's voices, especially Stephen here. Just so proud of seeing Mike Fink. He has touched a lot of people here at the Kennedy Space Center in his time working with everyone here throughout the Commercial Crew program.
Yeah, absolutely. He has had an impact.
And you had an impact on me. I lost to you for your next space assignment. So
so we need to clear the record here, because you tried to stack the deck and karma won out there because you dealt me the ace by accident. So I'm sorry. That's just the way it goes.
Thank you for being so truthful and honest. Is this show over yet? No, you know what? We're excited for you, Nick. We can't wait to see what you do next as well. You've brought so much experience and insight and knowledge to this show, and I know that you wanted from the very beginning, after you launched, you told me that you wanted to do this for Xena, for your friends, for your colleagues, for your team. And you're a stand-up guy telling us early on, like, hey, I'll be there and I'll do it. Thank you very much for that.
No, my pleasure.
Can you take one more social question before we bug out?
We didn't hit 8 yet, so yes.
Let's do it. One more social question. Let's see if we can get it fired up here. Yes, Aaron Anzar is the winner with, what is your best memory as an astronaut? Well, you can imagine there are so many memories that are created. I've listened to you for a couple days now, and it's fascinating to hear each and every one that you remember. But what would you put as the #1 memory?
The image, if I try to sum up my 12 years of doing this job, the image that kind of brings it all together in my mind is just another Friday night floating around the table in the Russian service module, having dinner with our playlist. It's an eclectic playlist of music that mixes in everybody's favorites. So you've got Russian traditional folk music and hard rock and American country western, and it's just the culture that the crew has built, and me trying to talk with my cosmonaut colleagues in broken Russian, and them talking to me in broken English, and we develop our own language, and we're sharing what's going on with our families, and birthdays and anniversaries. It's just life. And we've built that in space. And there's just so many unique aspects, just how you're eating and people are floating around, that it's so normal. It becomes so normal to do that, and that's my hope, is that we can get more people to experience that normal living in space, but also that normal of bringing together people from around the globe and just getting to know each other.
Yeah, understanding each other, appreciating where we come from as different countries. What strikes me about that is a memory that you chose is you went on EVAs. You went outside the spacecraft, outside and saw the entire planet underneath your feet, but you pick a very human moment as the memory, a bonding moment among your crew that stands out as the number one. I'm sure there's a ton of great memories, but it was the human one at the end of the day.
I mean, you can spend all day in the cupola staring at the Earth, and it's an amazing view. But when a crewmate floats up and watches it with you, it's just that much more spectacular.
That's awesome. That's awesome. Nick Hague, NASA astronaut, and a brigadier general with the Space Force. Thank you so much for being here. You did a fantastic job. And with that, our coverage comes to a close. But the journey for Crew-11, well, it is just beginning. After a stunning launch from Kennedy Space Center and a successful ride to orbit, the crew is now on their way to the International Space Station. This is a shortened trip, 15.3 hours, with docking targeted for a Saturday, August 2nd. At approximately 3 a.m. Eastern Time. And we'll pick back up, of course, with our coverage beginning at 2 a.m. Eastern Time on that same Saturday, tomorrow, for a targeted docking at that moment. And so with that, we want to just say thank you to everyone who was participating in this show today. If you want to follow along with the mission, Crew-11's journey to the space station, just by check in with our real-time mission audio. It will have the flight controllers communicating with the team. You can check that out. The QR code that's at the bottom of your screen now, you just pull out your phone and scan that. You can watch on your phone or watch on your TV with a streaming app. We'll pick back up live with broadcast coverage about 2 hours before docking right here on NASA Plus. Nick, thanks again. Really appreciate it, man. 2 launch attempts. I mean, you were fantastic. This is a long slog through the day, but it's wonderful to document seeing your friends go up to space.
Yeah, wouldn't want to be anywhere else.
Absolutely. So with that, thank you so much for joining us. Have a great afternoon, everyone, and thank you again for watching us get these astronauts to space. Continue to follow us as well, and make sure that you keep looking up. We are seeing the astronauts that are flying today. Once again, getting suited up. This is a tradition that happens before crew can leave the suit-up room. Crew-11 walking the hallway, ready to do it again. And here they come. Crew-11 walking outside before launch. Well, there's Xena giving a last wave with the window down. Crew-11 on the road to launch pad 39A. Well, there's our commander and our pilot looking up at their rocket. And here comes Mike and Xena, getting ready to get inside Dragon Endeavour. And here come our mission specialists right behind him, Oleg and Kimia. And there go the seats, articulating upwards, putting the crew in launch position. And the closeout crew closes the hatch to Dragon Endeavour.
3, 2, 1, ignition, full power and liftoff. Go Falcon, go NASA, go Crew-11.
Together we rise as NASA's SpaceX Crew-11 heads up to the International Space Station.
Vehicle is pitching downrange.
1.7 million pounds of thrust.
Propulsion is nominal.
Propelling Falcon 9 as the vehicle pitching downrange and making its way up the East Coast, and will soon join Expedition 73 aboard the orbiting laboratory.